Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic/non-classic. This is episode number 478 and Doubleshot number 382. Two X-Men trades, both basically where one ends and one. They're kind of the same series but different name. Okay. First up, it's All New X-Men Inevitable, Volume 4, IVX, written by Dennis Hopeless. He writes just the issues in here, which is the final three issues of the series. Technically, if you count it with the first volume, these are basically issues 59 to 60, 58 to 60. Yep. Now he just does the main story. Mark Bagley does all three issues in here, with artwork on the last issue also done by Paco Diaz. Yep. There's the annual in here, which is the second annual for the series. There are two stories in here. The first was done by Sonia Grace, who is the current writer of Iceman, the present Iceman. Artwork by Corey Smith. The second story is done by Rex Aglu and Andre Barakudu, I think it's how to pronounce his name. And X-Men Prime is done by Mark Guggenheim, Greg Pak, and Colin Bunn, with artwork by Ken Lashley, Iber Robinson, Leonard Kirk, with Guillermo Orgo. I think it's pronounced the person's name. Yeah. Now, despite the IVX name, only one of the issues set during IVX. That's the 18th issue. Well, technically, it's issue 59. The first issue was set just before the start of IVX. Second issue is during, and then, of course, 19 is the aftermath of IVX. The annual has nothing really to do with IVX. It's two stories. One story focused on ID. The other one focused on, let's see, who was the second story focused on? Yeah, it's ID. Oh, yeah, it's focused on two characters. Daniel Moonstar, this character right here, a.k.a. Mirage, Spellbinder, whatever. In one of her very rare, sporadic appearances she's made since the Fearless Defenders series ended. I mean, after this, I think her next physical appearance was actually in the final issue of New Avengers Volume 4, number 18. Yep. Yeah, because apparently Marvel writers don't care to do anything with this character. I mean, it's nice the fact that the annual basically has a story focus on her. She is an interesting character, and yet half the time, interesting characters like her get put into a chest and just no one bothers doing anything with her. I mean, her most recent appearance will show up in Generation X of all things. Yeah. The Prime issue is just it's just a setup issue for, it's just basically kind of like how it is with DC Rebirth and Marvel Legacy, setting up stuff basically will happen in like several books. It sets up X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, Weapon X, and I think it's ever since Generation X. Yep. I should also point out though, the last issue is actually sort of a nod to a classic X-Men cover. Yeah, the final issue is basically, I gotta praise the artist for this, Mark Bagley. Yeah, I mean, look at this artwork. It looks like classic. It looks like one of those classic covers that came back in the late '60s. But here's something really weird though. After this series ends, Laura, it just basically finds her own book. ID disappears. As far as I know, she's never seen again. And as for Genesis, who's a character created by Rick Remender, he also disappears. Never to be seen again. It's like, oh yeah, you had this really interesting lineup, and you want to trim it down to 5 people, though there's one person in the current line. The current series replaces this one. That's my only complaint about X-Men Blue, which I'll get to in a minute. But this is really good. Nice way to end the series. And out of the 3 X-Men titles, basically, that were launched with all in the different Marvel now, this one had the same creative team for his entire run. Unlike, let's say, Uncanny X-Men and X-Men and Extraordinary X-Men, which had the same writer throughout the whole run, but they kept changing art. Like Greg Land didn't draw every single issue. I think he did all about 6-7 of them. Roberto Ramos only did the first 5 issues. I think he did one other one besides that one. But that's simply it. Mark Bagley is the one who stays on the entire time. The only series I can think of, basically, where he doesn't do the entire artwork of the entire time he's on the book is Thunderbolts. But a lot of the time, generally, when he's on a book and he is the writer, when he is the artist, he does do artwork consistently for the entire time, unless, of course, he leaves the book. But this series was really good, despite the final issue of the previous volume of the series, where they added Iceman as gay, which I still think that's really stupid. Yes. I mean, yeah, you have a character outed as gay, despite the fact for years he's been straight. I don't know why that the writers thought this was a good idea. So how much business they did that for. It's a stupid retcon, and yet it's and it's probably the reason why the Iceman tale is probably not selling. Is probably not selling as high as Marvel wants to sell it for. But I enjoy the title Iceman. Yeah, but this is pretty good. I should point out though this young Iceman, he's gone through at least 3 different costumes at this point. Yeah, in the previous volume he had 2 costumes, but in the current he's already on his 4th costume already in just 5 years. Yet this book lasted for 5 years, and then it ended. Also, I don't like it that Magic is not in any of the X-Men roster, which I think is really stupid because she's not consistently on the X-Men roster since 2011, and yes, she's no longer on the X-Men roster. I have no idea why. Yeah, but this is good. I give this book a 9 out of 10. It's really good. Alright, next up is its follow-up book, X-Men Blue, Volume 1, Strangest. Written by Cullen Bunn, with artwork by Jorge Manalia. I think he does all 6 issues in here. He does the first 3 issues. With Matto Buffett in issue 1, and Ray Anthony Height in issue 3. Juan Lopez does issue 4. Juan Lopez and Corey does issue 5. And the final issue was done by Ray Anthony Height and Raymond Botches. I think it's pronounced his person's name. Yeah. Simply put, this is the relaunch of the all-new X-Men title, which for some strange reason they put Jean Grey back in this book, despite being over X-Men for 2 years. She gets moved over back to the this lineup for some reason, and then they later on add Jimmy Hudson in issue 4. No idea why Colin thought this was a good idea, but one thing I definitely think was a good idea is the fact that he loves writing Magneto. Seriously, this guy shows up and this is the 3rd X book in a row that he's basically... You see, Colin Bunn has been writing this character since 2014. I'm not kidding. First started with his solo title, and then you have Uncanny X-Men, then you have this. Basically, this is the 3rd book. And the book, they do retcon Bastion's death from Second Coming, but here's the thing. The guy had been dead for 7 years, so I don't have a problem with this at all. I mean, yeah, they kind of retconned it where he survived, which not unexpected because the guy's a freaking robot. So I'm not all that surprised that he somehow survived, despite being blown to ashes by Hope Summers. Yeah, as explained, he basically went to the future, basically rebuilt himself, basically one of his drones. So he used that to build himself and tries to make the Sentinels good people. But yeah, in the first issue, we have the first time we get the chance to see the Juggernaut. For the first time in 2 years. Yeah, the Juggernaut has been surprisingly absent from comic books for the past 2 years. I don't know why, but his last known physical appearance was in the final issue of Amazing X-Men, coming out in 2015. So after 2-year hiatus of basically not featuring his character, the character shows up completely out of nowhere. And also in the first issue, you see return of Black Tom Cassidy. Let's see, when was the last time we saw him show up? Let's see here. Let's see, I think it's been a little while. Let's see. Yeah. So, for him, it's actually longer. This is his first appearance in 5 years. Yeah. This guy made his last appearance toward the end of Deadpool Volume 2. And that was 5 years ago. So, yeah, it's great the fact you bring back characters people like. Which I do appreciate Colin Bunn for doing it. He doesn't necessarily retcon anything. No. Well, not any big retcons like Bendis loves doing. But he doesn't do it very often. Here, the only retcon he does is the death of Bastion. That's it. Yep. Though I do when they show the ultimate version of the Marauders, yeah, this is something that really confuses me. Now I could have sworn that one of these people supposedly died at the end of the Ultimate Universe. He was killed by who was the writer of Ultimates? The last writer of Ultimate Comics Ultimates. Let's see. Let's see. The last writer was Joshua Hale Falaker. I think I'd say pronounce the person's name. Yeah. I could have sworn this guy died. Yeah, he was killed by the old version of Kang, and yet here he is, alive and well, with no explanation of how he gets resurrected. And here he is, right here. Here's Quicksilver. Last time I checked, he was killed by the ultimate version of Kang the Conqueror, who was a woman, by the way. Now, this lineup, I don't have a problem with people here, like the ultimate version of Armor, and this is not the 616 Armor, basically, because the suit, and Derek Morgan and Jimmy Hudson. Guess who created these two characters? Jeff Loeb. The guy behind Ultimatum. Yep. Nami Blue, aka Mach 2. She's actually an original character from the Ultimate Universe. She showed up toward the end of, I think it was during Brian Wood's run she showed up in. Yeah. Don't have a problem with the lineup per se, but why the heck is Quicksilver here? Now, you can tell by looking at him, that's not the 616 version of Quicksilver. He looks a little bit younger. So, yeah, it's not the 616 version because he's over in the Candy Avengers, where he's fine. This one looks like he's about 10 years younger. But as for him being alive, and as for these people being here, I have no idea why, because last time anybody saw the Ultimate Universe was destroyed just before Secret Wars. Though somehow it could be still around, but as for Quicksilver being alive, there's no explanation for that at all. Nope. One thing I also love is they also do a flashback to, I believe it was the when the X-Men went to the Ultimate Universe, which was awesome. The fact they did that, and plus Miss Sinister shows up. Now it's been a while since I've seen her too, so you have return of not one, not two, but three characters. Let's see. Let's see. When was the last time we saw her? Because it's been a little while. Because it's always nice to see Miss Sinister. I think the last time she was seen was probably, from any information I can find, basically her last appearance was in the X-23 comic book. So it's been roughly 6 years. Yep. So thank you, Colin Bunn, for bringing back three characters people haven't seen. Oh, yeah, I almost forgot. There was a flashback in the all-new X-Men where the X-Men fight Unity Untouchable. Yep. But this book is good. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. The only thing I could question, though, is that why in the world would they add Jimmy Hudson in the book? Yeah. I don't really get why they would add a Wolverine to the book. It's a big question mark of why. There's a rumor that the reason why Jimmy Hudson was added here because Marvel wanted Wolverine in every single X-Men group book, with the exception of Generation X. Just to help boost the sales. Sales are probably doing fine. Probably enough to keep the book going. But adding Jimmy Hudson to the mix was probably a bad... I'm not sure if it was a good or a bad idea. You could have... I don't know. I don't have a really big problem with it, but... You could put X-23 back in the book, but... Oh, God forbid we put her on a team book. Yep. Because ever since basically this whole... sort of like... new line of new nostalgic stuff for the X-Men, it seems like X-23 is confined to her own book. I mean, she's made rare appearances of her own book. Heck, she made one appearance in here, and it was a flashback. Yep, one issue for this particular thing. I think the next volume is the tie-in issue to Secret Empire. I think so, yes. And of course, after that is Mojo World. Okay, but this book is good. I give this book a 9.5 out of 10. Really good. Alright, that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next episode, which is going to be one X-Men book. and one DC book. You'll find out next episode, which episode 479 and Doubleshot number 393. Okay. Until then, I will see you there. Bye.